Well, welcome back again this week for another analysis behind the news. A number of things that are in the news that are kind of important. One is for the House speakership for the Republicans, primarily, in the House of Representatives. Two men have dropped out already based on rumors of scandal. And it's interesting that the letter by Walter Jones caused the last one to drop out. I must say, when it comes to members of Congress, Walter Jones is probably in the top 10. I don't even say probably. He is in the top 10 of men within Congress. I would even make the list even shorter than that. He is an honest man. He is a man who keeps his promises. He's a man who does not divulge secrets when it's necessary not to divulge them. But in his letter, he just said that anyone in Congress who has had misdeeds since they've come to Congress should not be running for the leadership. Now, of course, they're trying to make a juxtaposition for the speakership by saying that Ryan needs to be the next Speaker of the House. People need to look at what these people are doing outside of Congress. We've always said in these broadcasts that Boehner was part of the transatlantic policy network whose aim was to merge the European Union and the United States together into one country. It explains a lot of what he's been doing over the years, or in some cases, not doing. The grassroots of the Republican Party is up to their nose with the behavior of the establishment Republicans. They're do-nothing things that are going on in the Congress. And actually doing nothing is really doing something. And that's the thing that they have to understand. They're not doing these things because they don't want to do these things. They want certain things like Obamacare to facilitate merging with Europe, with Canada, and these other countries. Ryan, for instance, has been trained, before he ever went to Congress, by the Aspen Institute. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with what the Aspen Institute is, it's a think tank, a training tank for international affairs and that sort of thing, and domestic as well. But they are a high-level, very sophisticated part of the New World Order. The Kissingers are in there and others like that. Koch is in there. And it's a funny thing how these people can seem to be able to get together and work together when publicly they have such different ideas and positions and principles. But here they are working together towards free trade and that sort of thing. So what we see happening in the speakership in the House is to make a condition through the media in the public's mind that Ryan somehow is an outsider who can meld everybody together and keep the party together, and they can go on and get something done. He is part of the leadership they just got rid of. And so Ryan is, even though he's from our state here, is somebody that is a very personable individual, very capable, but he's in bed with all these establishment ideas in the hierarchy of the Republican Party. You know, one of the things I've already dwelled on is the trade deals. And one thing that was sent out over the last go-around over trade was the TPA, the fast-track authority that the president wanted, and the Republicans gave it to him. And part of the reason that happened was because of big postcards like this that were sent out in the mail. And it was sent out by the American Action Network. And it was trying to get people to think that, hey, we've got to stop China. We've got to stop China by getting fast-track authority. And now the next move is we've got to stop China by passing the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And would you guess that maybe the guy that put the American Action Network together is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the One World organization, promoting One World and all that business, and part of their agenda is the free trade. Now, it isn't really free trade. That's a misnomer. It is merger. They even this time don't even hide it. They call themselves partnerships. And partnerships is a big thing. It's not simple trade. It's merging. It's convergence. Economic convergence. And once you do that, you are forming a new country. If you converge your economic system, you are forming a new country, whether you say that at the beginning or not. That's what they did in Europe. They fooled the Europeans into thinking this was free trade, and now it's becoming one country. And you can see this whole idea poo-pooing any thought of keeping China out of the equation, whether it's today, tomorrow, or somewhere else in the future, whether it's the Peterson Institute for International Economics, understanding the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, Peterson, who runs this, used to be president of the Council on Foreign Relations, and basically they just say that they want, at some point, to include China. The sooner, the better. And yet, we're being sold as conservatives into thinking that that's not the case. It's something against China, and it's going to keep China from controlling Asia. And in all sorts of things. Here's another one, another paper titled The TPP, China and the FTAAP, The Case for Convergence. And of course, one of the men, one of the co-authors of this, just happens to work for the Chinese Investment Corporation, which manages part of Communist China's reserves, foreign exchange reserves. And they are headquartered in Beijing, and they answer to the State Council of the Communist Party of China. They talk about including China. White House emails talk about including China. And on and on and on. The Brookings Institute, why China should join the Trans-Pacific Partnership. China calm over TPP isolation. It's basically saying it's only a step before we're involved. And on and on. The Council on Foreign Relations, a paper. Here's another one from the Council on Foreign Relations. North America, time for a new focus, where they want to reinvigorate the idea of merging North America into a single state, Canada, the United States, and Mexico. And that to merge into the European Union and the Asia-Pacific convergence. The Department of State. All of these things belie the whole idea that this is going to stop China. They all say, if we're not going to include China now, this is the first step toward including China. I suggest that you send or look online on the New American website for the Trans-Pacific Partnership to Facilitate U.S. China Merger. Christian Gomez has done a good job of documenting all of these things to show this is a phony, that they are going to move China into the TPP or into a larger organization like the FTAAP and that sort of thing. But the main aim, the end goal, is to have China as part of this economic convergence. Last, a couple of things. The Nobel Peace Prize was again awarded to socialists. The Mother Teresas are usually the exception to the rule. Socialists and communists have always won the Nobel Peace Prize, and this latest coalition in Tunisia is no different. 3 unions and something that I haven't been able to establish whether it's a union or not, but all the lawyers belong to it. Every lawyer in Tunisia belongs to this organization. And supposedly they've saved this from, the big bad wolf of Muslim extremism. But what it is it's the same thing that's been going on in North Africa for decades, and that is secular Muslims under Marxism. And that's what they've just awarded these people, these Marxists in Tunisia. Now, if you look them up online, they'll say they're socialists or syndicalists, and syndicalists are the same thing, only just a nicer word for socialism. Lastly, we always say that communism is dead, but here we have again in the Wall Street Journal this morning. Communist official is named premier of the country of Nepal, right next to Tibet and India and all of that, and Pakistan. And so that whole region is becoming a real problem, with Pakistan allied with China, India in BRICS, et cetera, et cetera. And now Nepal is going under a communist government. It's something we better keep our eye on and keep that in the back of our mind when we talk about convergence in Asia. Until next week. Well, I won't see you next week, as a matter of fact. I'll be gone. But in a couple of weeks, I'll see you. Bill Hahn will fill in for me. Thanks so much.